Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is your Friday installment of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Yes, that's right. This is episode 614. I want to say to
Woo!
everybody, welcome back.
Man, 614.
614. We're blowing through the 600s, man.
Yeah.
I want to say good morning to the guys on the show. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Derpy. How you guys doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's Friday. You got high school football, college tomorrow, Steelers Sunday. Well, awesome.
Yeah, no, it's true. No, there's no stop. I love it. Football from now all the way through Monday night. It's the best time of the year. A lot of things to go over today, guys. Of course, we had football last night. We'll get into that. We got all kind. If you're a Pittsburgh sports fan, this is the weekend for you. The Pirates are playing the Yankees. The Penguins got two games over the weekend. The Steelers are playing, of course, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in action. And as Mike stated, the high school football games start tonight. So there's plenty going on if you love sports here in Pittsburgh. I want to say good morning to Jen on the board. Great seeing you as
And Jen,
always. Yeah. How you guys? How you doing, Derpy?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. It's Friday.
It's
Mike is
Friday.
bald on Friday, and
That's right.
Ryan is pissed on Friday.
Yeah.
Derpy just likes to poke and prod. You notice that, Ryan?
Yeah,
He
he's
likes to poke.
poking.
He likes to poke and prod. He likes to stir the pot, and then he just leaves.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm on to you, Derpy.
See how you are, Derpy.
Yeah.
But I do want to say congratulations to Derpy. Derpy has something good going on
Yeah.
over on his page. I promoted it a little bit last week. It is Derpy. What's the name? What Derpy Enterprises? Derpy Entertainment.
Derpy Entertainment.
Derpy Entertainment. Derpy.
Derpy Enterprises.
Well, Derpy. I don't know what the word is for it, but he's one of these people that he loves the Steelers, but yet he likes the team. He likes the Cleveland Guardians and teams like this. But his Cleveland Guardians had made the playoffs, so apparently Derpy made uh, a video. Did you make this video or did you just share it?
No, I made it.
So Derpy made a video for the Cleveland Guardians, kind of like a pump up video. And how many views are you up to, Derpy?
1,200.
1,200. So I do want to say go check out Derpy Enterprises.
Derpy, you're at 1,600 views on that one now. I got
I'm at
better intent.
1,600.
You got 1,600 right now, dude. Don't sell yourself short, man.
So for you that all that just think that he's another pretty face, he's over there doing things, and you can always go check him out at Derpy Entertainment.
I was even nice enough, Derpy. I just put the link to your channel down there.
All
And like
right.
I was telling him off air, he needs to make some stuff for his channel, make some stuff for ours, man. Derpy, this is who you are. You're a content creator now, Derpy. Embrace it, my friend.
With a
Embrace it.
strange little panda face you have.
I think he needs to get that panda tattooed on his face if TJ Watt.
I think,
What we're supposed to do for
yeah,
if
if
TJ
TJ, if
Win the
the
Super Bowl.
Steelers win the Super Bowl, he's going to get the TJ Watt tattoo. I think he should get, wait,
the
what should he
panda
get?
tattoo.
Get the panda tattoo if we don't win the
TJ
Super
Watt
Bowl.
on one cheek, panda on the other.
And that'd just be weird.
You're no fun.
Guys, Pittsburgh Steelers have a big game this weekend. They have a chance to go
Oh
4
yeah.
and 0 to start the season. I think this is it's better than most people thought it was going to be for this Pittsburgh Steeler team. I don't think anybody thought that we would be 4 and 0 after 4 weeks. However, we're not quite there yet. We do have a game to play against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday at 1 o'clock in Indianapolis. It should be a good game, guys. I know that the Colts are 1 and 2 at this point. Um, Anthony Richardson. Anthony
Oh,
Richardson is the quarterback over there. From what I'm seeing and hearing, he is statistically one of the worst quarterbacks to this point in the season. The Colts, Mike, you get any thoughts on this football team that we're going to be playing on Sunday?
um, they can't stop the run. So we should. And Anthony Richardson, like you said, inside the numbers, he is so wildly inaccurate. If we can just force him to play in there, this should be an easy win for this team. But they can make you see them to make big plays in the run game. Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line are very, very good at what they do. And Richardson, he has a cannon. You let him beat you deep, he can beat you deep, but he's just wildly inconsistent. So don't be surprised if they do get you some big dynamic chunk plays, splash plays, whatever you want to call them.
Now, is
He'll
this
hit that wide
Richardson, Mike?
receiver.
Is he good on his feet too? Does he run?
Oh yeah, he can run. He's big, fast, and
Where's
athletic.
he out of? We've been talking about him for a couple years. I know he just went up to Indianapolis, backed up by Joe Flacco, if I'm remembering right.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Anthony
He
Richardson
came
from?
from Florida.
Florida?
Yeah,
That's
last year
right.
was his rookie year. He was showing like early on what he can do with his legs. He's not afraid to initiate contact, and that's what caused him to get hurt. So he's an aggressive runner. He will try and force it across the middle of the field into windows he can't force him into yet. He's just inaccurate. Some of his decision making is not there. He's only played since high school. He's only played like 20 games since high school, college and pros combined. If it might even be less than that.
Now, Mike, if he gets hurt, would we be better off going against Joe Flacco, or would you rather Anthony
No,
Richardson being in there?
I'd rather go against
I'm gonna
Anthony
go
Richardson
Richardson.
I
because
would
you
too.
yeah, because Flacco, he's not what he once was, but he's still smart enough to play. I'll take what you give me. I'll take what you give me. Live to fight another
And you've
day.
seen what he did with Cleveland last year. I mean, all the way
Yeah,
until that playoff game, he was
yeah,
pretty much flawless.
yeah. He'll be. He's that wily vet. He knows when not to take the chance. Richardson's still young, inexperienced, and he's going to try to be the hero, try to be the quarterback that wins the game for the team instead of just being a piece of the puzzle right now. He's a guy who should be sitting behind a Joe Flacco for a couple
Yeah.
of years, watching and learning.
Mike, I went to pull up the injury report, and it looks more like the team roster. I got to tell you, there's more
Yeah.
names on this team than there was on a
Yeah.
depth chart. I'm going to go over this, guys,
Mhm.
as we get started, so we kind of have an idea what we're working with. Of course, Justin Fields, sorry, has been named the starter of the week because Russell Wilson now, for about 9 straight weeks, is at a tight calf. He was limited all week at practice. Roman Wilson, he has been full practice with his ankle. Van Jefferson has been full practice with his eye. Najee still full practice. Deshaun Elliott with the quadricep, he had full practice as far as Thursday. Dante Jackson, he was at full. Jalen Warren did not practice with his knee. Alex Highsmith did not practice with his knee, with his groin. Of course, we know he's not playing. I'm only halfway through the list.
I know
I'm
tired.
I'm
it
exhausted.
goes.
Isaac Siamalo with his pec was limited at practice. I think we could see we'll be seeing him soon. I think maybe next week we might.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of good things.
I was holding out hope for this week, but I think you're right.
Also, Michael Pruitt did not practice with his knee. TJ Watt had a full practice. Cameron Hayward had he rested, so he did not practice.
Old.
He needed a lot of rest. He had his game like
He had 5 good plays, man. He's tired. He's tired.
Larry Ogunjobi. He had a full practice. Miles Killebrew he did not practice.
That's concerning.
And finally, Cordero Patterson did not practice due to rest. So
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
that is your injury report. Let me go over to the Indianapolis Colts. I got to be honest, I don't know who none of these people are. Kenny Moore the second, he did not practice with a hip. He's a cornerback. Chris Lamons did not practice with a knee and an ankle. He's a cornerback. Grant Stewart, he practiced. He's a heel. Quiddy Payne with a quadricep did not practice. Defensive end. Braden Smith with a tackle. He did practice. Defensive end Tyquan Lewis was limited at practice with a calf wrist. And finally, a center, Ryan Kelly, did not practice with a neck.
That one might be a big one for them because their O line is really good.
And that seems to be their strength is the running game. So,
yeah.
It kind of plays into the Steelers' our strengths. Because we are the team that's kind of taking it back to the old style, to the the heyday of football with the running attack and the defense and this and that. So, this kind of plays to our advantage, even if their running game is good, it's okay because if you could key in a little bit more on the run, knowing that the quarterback isn't going to be so aggressive, or who knows, they might let the guy go out there and throw all over the place. But I like the matchup. I do honestly think, Mike Derpy, that we could be 4-0 here in a couple of days. I don't think that I don't listen again. we kind of are in a weird position ourselves. It isn't like we are
Yeah.
having this great, we're this great 3-0. We're not. So, maybe I am getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I do feel that this is a team that we should be able to beat. And if we could get this win, guys, that's big. We're sitting. You look at it this way: the Ravens, they play the Buffalo Bills. So if we get a win and we go to 4-0, and the Ravens, let's just say the Bills win and the Ravens lose again, they'll be sitting at 1-3. And I like that. I like that a
Who would have
lot.
thought?
Who would have
Who would
thought?
have thought?
Apparently
Not
nobody.
us. No one did. No one did. Like this whole NFL season has been topsy turvy. And they're like teams that are supposed to be really good are struggling. Teams supposed to be bad or outperforming expectations. But I like the fact that their O line's banged up. Because that is their bread and butter. They might be one of the best running teams in the NFL. It's not the best. Um, Anything to slow down them, make them one dimensional. I want to make them into a passing team. I like their receivers. They got some good receivers over there. I like Pittman Jr. He's really good. Josh Downs, good young player. But I don't trust their quarterback. And like we always say here, if you have bad quarterback, like you're screwed. And you can force him into some bad decisions. He might make a big play here or there, but overall, as the game goes on, he's more prone to have these
That's my
boneheaded plays as a
concern.
young player.
Is not their quarterback, it's our quarterback. I want to know at what point is it going to be where our quarterback makes the mistake?
Yeah.
So far, so good. We've been playing conservative.
Yeah.
Last week, of course, you did see us spread the field a little bit. We went deep down the middle a couple of times. One of them ended up being a touchdown. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see our quarterback drop the ball, figuratively and literally. You know what I mean? Where he listen, the history that he's had, we have to be crazy to think that he's going to be
Yeah.
as good as he's been moving forward. So he has to do a couple of things. Of course, you want production to always be improving, but again, at some point, when is that going to be? Hopefully, not this week. But you would think that at some point he's going to have to again drop the ball. Or unless he's in a new town, he got a new
Yeah.
way of a new
Could
way
be.
of thinking, and
Yeah.
he's just changed. But again, he put the ball on the ground so much
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago, it just makes you think,
Well,
okay, at what point? And if it is at some point, I hope it's not at a vital point of the game where it's
yeah.
going to cost us.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can go back and look. Like Peyton Manning, his first few years was a turnover machine.
Which
Yeah.
is fine. I mean, I'm
Of
just
course, he was a Hall of Fame generational player. Terry Bradshaw the same way. So guys can snap out of it, but is he going to be one of those guys, or like you said, is he going to be someone where we're every game we're holding our breath, waiting for the worst to happen? He's going to make a great scramble run, but lose the ball. Think he has someone open, doesn't see the safety coming across, or a linebacker lurking in the middle of the field. I think the way they're playing, the way they're game planning, they're doing what they can to limit those, maximize deep balls to the sidelines to hit our big plays there and hit that soft spot in the zone that we saw for Calvin Austin. I think they're smart game planning around his history. And if they can keep going to where he's playing smart, playing safe, open it up. And I think that's when you would see it, the turnovers might happen. If they try to make it a more explosive offense, I think that's where the turnovers will come from. But if they play it smart, hey, let's get 21, 24 points, get in, get out, I think the turnovers won't be as egregious as they were in his tenure in Chicago.
I just want to address a couple of the comments on the board. Jed said, "Did you hear that Tomlin is playing the game of the Colts beating the Steelers last time as a motivator?" I mean, in our defense, they did have Mitch Trubisky under center,
But
and
still,
I think we lost to the Patriots, the Colts, and the Cardinals in three
yeah.
straight games. But yeah, no, that's cool. I think that I hope that we're in a better shape to beat them this year. Again, of course, we did make some
Mm-hmm.
improvements during the offseason and some things, so we will see. Again, I think we're going to be 4-0. That's my prediction. Also on the board, let's see what else. Brian over at One Man's Opinion said, just suggesting the show should be 2 hours on Fridays and Mondays during Steelers season. He also says, good to see Derpy finally back with the full practice today. Yeah, after he got neutered, he had to take it easy after the neutering.
Yeah.
So he's back. Back again.
I wish I had time in the day to do 2 hours.
Yeah, I wish we had time for 4 hours, but
Me
also,
too. Me too. And then someone can pay us big money to do it.
but Mike, let me ask you a couple things before we do get
Yeah.
started, because Brian did kind of touch on it here. The highest offensive lineman this week, in fact, was James Daniels, according to PFF, of course. Number one was James Daniels. Of all the offensive linemen, he had a 93.2. And number three on this list, one and three, number three was Zach Frazier with an 88.8 on this list for being
Yeah.
where they fell in the first week of being offensive linemen. So that's a good sign, Mike. I mean, one of the Achilles heels of this team, of course, is the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of issues going on, of course, a lot of injuries, mixing, matching, plugging guys, seeing if they
Yeah.
stick. We brought a new gentleman over from where New England or
New
Denver earlier
England.
in the week. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's just adding a little bit of depth right now. But we are still trying to figure this offensive line out. We are no way in the clear with the offensive line, but those are two encouraging numbers, Mike. James
Yeah.
Daniels and Zach Frazier being in the top three
Yeah.
offensive linemen.
Yeah. And when having to, like you said, we're starting a rookie center, the mess at the tackle position, thinking we'd have our 2 first-round picks in there. And then the one that we really didn't want in there is the one starting and had a nice bounce back game. The line's not doing bad. And when you're missing Sayamalu, and they're doing okay over there. I think once he gets back and I don't want them to rush him back. I want him back close to 100% as you can get when he gets in there, and that line's going to be even better with him because they're a whole hell of a lot better than I thought they would be. The way we were seeing in the preseason, the way some of these guys were playing, and then the loss of Sayamalo, I thought this would be one
Mike,
of the
what's the
worst lines in
defense
the
look
league.
like in Indianapolis?
Oh, you want some defense here? Let's see. They are giving up, let's see, 179 yards rushing per game. That's terrible. Their secondary is not that good. Points per game, they're giving up 20 points a game, so they're kind of in the middle of the pack right there. It's not the best. They're terrible at third downs. They can't get off the field. You have a 50% chance of converting your third down. So their defense doesn't scare me. I think we can run the ball on them. I think we can throw the ball on them too.
I like this quarterback because I don't have much faith in him. I think that you hit the nail on the head. I don't think that he has consistency.
Mhm.
And if it comes down to it, and it's the last drive of the game, say we're up 3, 4, 6 points.
Yeah.
I like the matchup of our defense versus Anthony
Yeah.
Richardson. But when it comes to the offense and their defense, trying to listen to the numbers that you were saying, it seems like we're going to be able to maybe impose our will on these guys. We're going to be able to
Yeah.
continue to run the ball down their throat and mix the pass in there. And then, once you kind of get them on their heels, then you could impose your will and play your game. I think that that's going to be the case with this Indianapolis Colts. I mean, they have the home field advantage. You got that going for you. You got the crowd. But I think on every other level, I think we do have an advantage over this Colts team. If I'm not mistaken, they started 0-2. They just got a win last week.
Mhm.
They did over the terrible Chicago Bears. The performance they had, the Colts beat the Bears 21-16. The prior two games that they had, they started off the season. Like this one here was kind of concerning in the sense because they only lost to the Houston Texans 29-27.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons, it may be okay because these are division teams, and division play a lot of times is different than when you're playing out of the
Oh
division.
yeah.
You know the team, you see them so much. So maybe I was overthinking that, but the first game they lost was a 2-point loss to the Colts. I mean the Texans. I'm sorry. The second game was a Packers win, 16-10, dropped them to 0-2. But then the win just last week over the Bears, Caleb Williams and company, at home. So it might, in my opinion, be a little bit too much for this Colts team to maybe pull 2 home wins in a row
Mhm.
for a team that's not that good. But on the other hand, like this team is not having problems scoring points. 27 points, 21 points.
Yeah.
Granted, they only had 10 points in the Green Bay game, but that they're getting the ball to the end zone and to the uprights a little bit better than we are. So that's a little bit of a concern. But we do have a really good defense, and I think that that's ultimately going to be the breaker here, Mike. Again, I you don't want to fall into that trap game, and it
Yeah.
totally has that feel. I mean, it could be a trap game,
Yeah.
but
That's
I
what I was
think
about to ask.
it totally could be. But I think that the Steelers will win this one. As I said at the top of the show, I think that we will be 4-0 this time here in a couple of days.
Yeah, I think so too. I like the mentality of this team early this season compared to the last couple seasons. They seemed so much more focused week in, week out. There's no distractions going on with this team. They're all saying, "Hey, we're just worried about today. We're not worried about tomorrow. And this what can we do today to get better? What can we do today to get ready for the game?" So I don't think there's going to be that typical Tomlin trap game. I think they're going to go in focused and ready to go. But the only thing that worries me with the Colts is just what Richardson can break contain a receiver. There's a not a busted coverage, but he's back there scrambling around. We saw this with Ben. You scramble enough, eventually someone's going to get open. You can't cover someone for 5, 6, 7 seconds, and someone gets open once, twice in a game. That can be a backbreaker right there. Because they've shown, like you said, they've shown that ability. We haven't shown it yet to hit that big strike for a touchdown quick. And that's what worries me if he breaks contain on a long run
Calvin
or a
Austin
long
was a pretty
pass.
quick play.
That was pretty quick play, but
Mike, that's my concern. Is the fact that we have never really gotten our offense up and running to where we can almost score at will. Yes, that was a fast, quick strike, but if the game's on the line, do we have it? We've yet to see that. Be able to score at will. As the past couple years, when we got positioned where we were behind late, we were able to come back in just about every one of the games and win a lot of those close games, where we haven't seen that yet with this the team this year. That's a bit of a concern for me because, as you said, somebody like Anthony Richardson, they could. It's always on these busted plays, and they could strike and they could make something happen. I'd like to see that in our favor again. Almost yes, we did do it with Austin last week, but more of an at-will situation.
Yeah,
we were up 3 points. I mean, that just made it a 10-point lead. When the game is on the line, we have to see that from this defense or from this offense at some point, Mike, where they, with everything on their shoulders at that point in the game, with the pressure on, they have to show something. And one of these games, I think that's going to be what ultimately hurts us. But you know what? We could bring it together this week, and it's like I said last week, Mike, when they stopped on the goal line and didn't score at the end of the game, I would have much rather had a 27-10 win.
27, it looks so much better.
When you're talking about an offense who's trying to find their way, I would have punched that into the end zone because I think that could have been a little bit more of a confidence booster. Here we are still. I mean, we're 3-0 we're finishing up the first quarter of the season basically, and we still haven't scored over 20 points. So I would have. I mean, Tomlin has his reasons and whatever, but I would have certainly punched it in, got the 27-10 win. That would have made me feel better. That would have helped me motivate my team, I think, a little bit more. But let's see what this offense could do.
Well, but I think it's much more. You're showing the opponent, like, look, we know we could score on you right now at will.
Well, we don't.
We're just going to show you that. We're going to humiliate you by kneeling at your 1 yard line. Yeah. The way we were running on them in the second half, they couldn't stop
180 minutes of football. We scored 3 touchdowns. I mean,
but I'm
not sure that we could have scored on them. That's what I'm saying.
You might want to watch the game again because we dominated them in the second half.
Well, you might want to watch 3 games because we've only scored 3 touchdowns.
I watched that last game where the line just dominated that second half. The run game dominated that second half. They didn't need to score there. They showed that we could punch this in these next 4 downs if we had to. The game don't make you look like you're a better team if you have more points. Well, style points, but style points don't matter.
If you have an offense that only scored 3 touchdowns in 3 games, it does. It could be for confidence, and you can say, "Look, guys,
that team looked pretty confident walking off the field after that victory."
Again, 3 games, 3 touchdowns. Do what you want with that. That's not a lot of
3 games, 3 victories. I'll take it.
Mike, how that's kind of retarded.
Okay, I'll take 3 games, 1 win, 2 losses, 8 touchdowns. Okay, cool. I'll take
Nobody recommended that. I'm just saying they have to score. You're not going to win. You're not going to continue to win.
But they didn't have to score in that situation because they didn't need to score. The game was over at that point.
Do what you want with that, people. So we got the Colts this week. This team, apparently they don't have problem scoring. So my point, Mike, if they come in and they put up, what's that?
They have problem winning.
Okay, of course, you're saying things that are quite obvious, so I'll just wait and let you continue, please.
Okay, well, I'll just you want to be like this. I'm sorry.
I'm not being like anything. You keep cutting me off as I'm trying to prove a point. Is what you're doing.
That's fine. That's fine by me.
Okay.
I'll take a W over scoring, making it look prettier. I'll take a W.
So you don't want the offense to get better. You don't want them to improve. You
I
want
want them to get better.
points.
Yeah.
How fucking dumb? Or you
How
fucking sound stupid.
How do I sound stupid by saying, "Hey, we
because
dominated the second half"?
Because you're not always going to be able to win with 12 points, with 13 points, with 20 points. You have to learn how to score points.
They have to.
And Mike, they're a quarter of the way through the season, and they haven't figured out how to score many points. Listen, if it wouldn't have been for one big play last game, that game was a lot different. You win 13-10. Maybe you don't even win. Maybe the game goes differently. Scoring more points is actually the goal in sports. I don't know if you realize this, but we have to learn how to score more points.
Winning is the goal in sports, and then they won. They didn't have to make that scoreboard look pretty to win that game.
So you don't feel that they have to improve? You're happy with the minimal amount of scoring?
Okay.
No, what you're saying is you're happy with the minimal amount of scoring as long as you win.
I'm going to explain this to you. I'm going to drop it down.
You're happy with the minimal amount of scoring as long as they win. That's what you said, correct?
No, I'm happy that they're winning, and they didn't need to score. They scored enough points they needed to win.
Mike, you're obviously saying the same obvious thing over and over. I get that. But don't you agree that this team has to learn how to score more points?
They need to when they need to. Yeah, they could have scored more
Which
points.
is every game. Okay.
They can improve.
Good teams know how to score. That's all I'm saying. All right, so we do have to
and
move
then they scored. I don't know, like how can I dumb this down for you to understand? My argument is they didn't need to score.
We really have to move on. There's so much to go over. We can't have this continuous stupid argument because it's dumb. You have to learn
because
how to
I'm winning the argument. You want to move on, so I
will
will allow
won
you
the
to
argument
move on.
8 times, and you keep saying
I will allow the argument.
Literally, I'm like talking to a wall. I'm talking to a wall here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking to right now.
A bald wall.
I'm talking to a bearded wall.
Listen, a what?
A bearded wall.
Okay.
I don't know.
Mike, this team has to learn how to score. You're not going to beat the Dallas Cowboys next week if you score 13 points. You're not going to beat the Jets if you score 15 points. This team has to learn how to score.
But they didn't need to have to score that last game.
Week's done. You've already made that point.
They only had to score 20 last week.
The point is made. You've said that 33 times. The point is made. Do you agree that this team has to learn how to score more points?
Do I, if the scoring situation depends
on
it,
you have to score more points than the other team. So you agree that this team has to learn how to score more points. Do you think that this team, when they play a defense like Dallas and the Jets, we're going to be able to get away with minimal scoring and win football games?
Well, I think if we're going to play a defense, is that what you think? If we play a defense like the Cowboys,
so you're totally fine with not producing points. That's what you're saying. Quarter of the way through the season, we haven't scored more than 3 touchdowns. You're okay with that?
No, I want to see more. I want to see more, but I'm not going to be mad that they knelt down at the 2-yard line.
See, you're doing this just for the sake of doing it because it's absolutely retarded.
Your argument was you wanted to.
You want to score? No, I'm going to tell you my argument right now because you keep changing. Listen, you want to score more points because eventually you're not going to be able to win 13-6 games against the Cowboys, against the Jets, against the Kansas City Chiefs, against the Philadelphia Eagles, against the Baltimore Ravens. Again, it's not going to happen. You have to learn. I'm just trying to figure out. This team has yet to prove that they've been able to score consistently. 3 touchdowns in 3 games is not consistent.
I just want to know why scoring a touchdown late in the game that has no bearing on the future
end of this game. Like that conversation's been over for 10 minutes.
No, that's the impetus of this whole conversation.
That's what you're hung on. That's why you're not making any sense. You're still talking about this last touchdown of the game.
Point. You've gone off on 5 different teams.
Mike, because I moved ahead. I evolved in this conversation. You're still talking about you're still talking about the Stone Age. You're like Fred Flintstone over there.
Okay, you realized that you were making a mistake and you just kept changing it.
No, because I won and I continued to move forward, and you just stuck on that because you couldn't win and you stayed there, and I continued to move forward.
No, because I'm able to say I was happy with the way the offense performed. I know
that's good for you.
They're showing that they were.
But I'm saying, Mike, do you feel that this team needs to score more points moving forward? This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at in the conversation. If you could catch up, please answer because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you want them to score more, but as long as they score more than the opponents, that's what we got to do.
We got to score more
you got to make it down to
for whatever reason, Mike loves minimal scoring. That's going to lose you football game. It is what you said about 6 or 7 times.
No, it's not. No,
that's what you said plenty of times.
No,
plenty.
No, it's because you refuse to see that the offense is getting better game in, game out.
Are they? They haven't, Mike. They're not, Mike.
Look at the offensive performance. You can't just look at the score.
3 touchdowns in 3 games. I'm looking at the offensive performance. Yeah, that's what matters is results. The fact is,
they're winning games. They're finding ways to win games.
Do you think they're going to continue to win games this way? Let me ask you. Yeah. Do you think they're going to continue to find ways to win this way?
Yeah, because the quarterback's getting better game in, game out.
Well, that's good for the quarterback, but is this team going to be able to score more points?
Better game in, game out. They're moving the ball more. They're scoring more points each offensive game. Yeah,
Actually, they're not. They went.
game in.
Actually, they're not. They went from 18 to 13, back up to 20. So it's not more every game.
Yeah.
So come on,
Oh,
Mike. We do
wow,
have to move
wrong
forward. If
game.
you're going to sit here and listen, you're playing. Listen, we have to move forward, please.
No,
Okay, continue.
no, no. I'm
Okay,
good.
so no continue.
No, continue. No, continue.
All right, so here we go. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they do play the Colts this weekend, guys. Big game, but I do want to talk about a few of these other games in the AFC North. We may be able to get a little help, but we may not. The Buffalo Bills, they travel to Baltimore to play the Ravens on Sunday night. I think we could get a little help there. However, the other two games, the Browns versus the Raiders and the Bengals versus the Panthers, maybe just one of these games we might be able to get a little bit of help. I've seen two of these teams, those two teams have upset so far this year. So maybe, just maybe, the Bengals might lay an egg to Carolina, or the Raiders might be able to beat the Browns, being that both of our division teams are on the road. And that might be able to help out a little bit, Mike.
It should, yeah. And the Bengals, that defense is just terrible. It's trash. And that's why I'm picking again for an upset 2 weeks in a row. The Carolina Panthers. I just don't trust Cincinnati at all. I just they have so many issues down there. Jamar Chase is still yapping his gums. T. Higgins is still grumbling about a contract too. I just, that team is gonna fall apart, and Andy Dalton's gonna just pick them apart. I have a feeling, and the defense is terrible. And who did the Browns play? Who again?
They got the Raiders. But you got to say, Mike, you talking about an improved offense. Carolina certainly looked a
Yeah.
lot improved with, the Red Rocket behind
Yeah.
center. Deontay Johnson had one hell of a game last week.
Yeah. They lost Thielen, though, I believe. That might be a blow to their offense, but I still think they can pull it out.
So one of these teams, you feel that one of these teams could possibly lose this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. It wouldn't surprise me the way the league's going now if all three teams lost. Like,
Oh, that'd be great.
dude, man, like there's so much going. You want to talk about how I said there's problems down in Cincinnati. There's a shit ton of problems up in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You got Amari, it was a Cooper who never says anything bad to the media, was chirping the media themselves for the way they were covering the team. When you got this guy, blowing off steam, that locker room has to be so toxic right now. Deshaun Watson refusing to had a guy wide open, like, oh, the guy was a decoy, so I wasn't going to throw to him on this play. And why would you ask a stupid question like that? Oh, I'm not going to run, take hits for this team. They are going to implode big time. So I can see them losing this week. Baltimore, that's toss up. That's coin flip. So
this could be one that I could see Baltimore losing,
rough.
just because they've been losing games, and they lost some unlikely ones. They lost to the Raiders. I can see Buffalo winning this just because of the bad loss they took earlier. Yeah. If they lose this, maybe they just aren't that good of a team. But I don't agree with that. I think they're a really good team.
Yeah,
I think the additions they made this offseason make them a better team. But
they're the team. If out of those three, they're the ones I can see rallying and having a great season. Not a great season, but a really good season down the stretch. But the other
they're
two,
only 1 and 2.
Yeah,
if they were 1 and 7, it's a different story.
Yeah, I can see the other two collapsing big time. But Buffalo, they're playing a whole hell of a lot better than I thought they would. Losing all their weapons on offense, losing a bunch of players on defense. It shows what happens when you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Absolutely, Mike. I think one of the big topics of this week's games is going to be the penalties. The penalties have really taken over in the NFL this year.
Oh.
Yesterday in the game between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, the Cowboys were penalized 11 times for 89 yards. The Giants, not so much, 4 penalties for 35 yards. However, when it's said and done, that's 15 penalties overall, over 100 yards. So, it's been a big thing this year. I know that we've certainly, in the first 2 weeks, we had 10 penalties and then 9 penalties in the first 2 games. We had the referees come hang out at practice. Maybe that helped out a little week. I don't know if it did or not. But this week, guys, the penalties, I hope don't play a role. You're seeing it all around the league. I just don't know if this is something that the refs are doing, whatever.
Yeah.
But they've certainly been in abundance this year, Mike.
Yeah, they're still cracking down on the illegal formation. You're seeing that penalty so much in every game. Every team's getting hit with it. It's frustrating. Like you're gonna call that, but you're gonna ignore obvious holds, obvious defensive pass interference, but you're going to crack down on illegal formation. Like get out of here. But yeah, the refs have been flag happy this year. It's ruining the pace of the game. Like, how many times have not just the Steelers make a big play? You're looking around for there's a flag. You're seeing it happen everywhere, and a lot of these calls are ticky tacky calls. It's like get out of here, this nonsense. But like I said, hopefully, we're trending in the right direction. Like you said, bringing the refs in last week helped big time. Hopefully, the players learned their lesson that we don't have to bring the refs back in 3 days. Bring them in there on the typical Friday last practice.
The Steelers and Colts this week have Land Clark's officiating crew. Now, Land Clark's officiating crew, they've called 50 penalties in 3 weeks, second only to Clete Blakeman's crew on a per game basis. Clark's crew has thrown 43 flags the past 2 weeks. Mike, it's a flag happy league this year. Yeah. Again, we have one of the crew that throws the most flags.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect it to be any different this week, or is this because I got to tell you, last night I'm watching this game between the Cowboys and the Giants. There was no there was no fluency to the game. There was so many penalties. It was constantly stop, and I'm thinking to myself, God, this is a hard game to watch. It's just it never comes together. Yeah. Do we continue to see that, or does that change a little bit because the NFL starting to suck a little bit?
I think so. I think we're going to see a lot of penalties this week. And then I imagine those penalties to start dwindling down the rest of the way. You see this in hockey a lot, where this is going to be a point of emphasis that first quarter of the season. That's all you see. It's just this penalty, that penalty, then it goes away. We're going to be 4 games in after this. I look for some of these illegal formation penalties to drop, some of these holding penalties to drop on. But I think this one's going to be a flag fest. It's going to ruin the momentum of the game, and I think that's going to what's going to keep the Colts in the game because we've been victimized a lot on bad calls. It feels like I hate blaming the officials because you should be able to overcome calls. But my God, they have been egregious and ticky tacky.
Mike, give me your keys to winning this game because we got so behind.
I know.
Your anger problems are
my
really
anger problem. I got my anger problems done at work. No, keys to the game on this one. Like I say all week, stop the run, establish the run for the Steelers, force Richardson to throw to the middle of the field. He can beat you on the routes to the sideline, but stuff across the middle of the field, he is wildly inaccurate. You can confuse him with coverage. And just play smart, disciplined football on the offensive side. No stupid penalties, no turnovers. Just play smart Steeler football the way we've been doing. And it should be an in and out.
Say the Colts come out and score 28 points this week in a freak game situation. Do we have the ability to win that football game?
I think we can. Their secondary is terrible. Their run game's terrible. I think we'd be able to match them. And I hate to say it, but I think Calvin Austin might be a nice number 2 receiver, 800-yard guy at the end of the year. And I think last game was his kind of like wake up call that he can be a guy. And I think if we have to go to pass happy attack, we can beat this team.
And also maybe the possibility of Roman Wilson this week. If he could show up and be semi-productive in his first game. That'll certainly be helpful. And, that's a whole element of the game that we haven't seen yet. Maybe he could come in and add something to the passing game that we haven't seen. Yeah. It could certainly, help the offense along a little bit. Derpy, what about you, man? Is there any keys to this game for the Steelers to beat the Colts that you could that you think of?
Maybe convert off of turnovers.
You know what? Definitely. You got to convert off of turnovers. And I was going to get into that here shortly when we get into the over and under, because I think that the turnovers, by the way that this team is playing, may be a situation that we have to deal with. Again, we had the one kind of weird turnover so far. It was an incomplete. It was batted. It was, the guy intercepted the ball, but we're due for an interception. And again, we could cause turnover. So I don't know, guys. I'm really confused by this game. I don't know what the Colts really have. I think that we should be able to easily beat them. But as I said, if they come out and surprise us and put up 28 points, this could really put the Steelers in a situation that they haven't seen. And I don't feel comfortable with the situation quite yet because we haven't seen it with this team. But that might be where we're at. Mike, let's get into the overs and unders for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields, 1/2 of a touchdown, over or under? That's on the through the air.
Over.
So you're saying over. All right. Derpy, half a touchdown pass from Justin Fields, over or under?
Over.
All right. Mike, Najee Harris, half a touchdown run.
Over, baby. Over. That run defense is trash.
Derpy, Najee Harris, over or under? Half of a Najee Harris run.
Over.
All right. A lot of optimism this week. That's what's scaring me. Everybody's a little too optimistic.
Right.
I know. I gotta get my negativity back.
Number 3, George Pickens, 5.5 catches. Mike, over or under? George Pickens, 5.5 catches.
I'm gonna take the under.
Derpy,
Under.
Pat Fryermuth, 4.5 catches. Over or under?
Under.
Derpy, Pat Fryermuth, 4.5 catches. Over or under?
Under.
Offensive turnovers, 1.5. Over or under?
Okay. Under.
Derpy, offensive turnovers, over or under? 1.5.
Under.
Calvin Austin the third, a half a touchdown. Over or under?
Oh,
He just had one, so
I know he just had one. You know what? We're going back-to-back weeks with Calvin Austin the third. This is his breakout season, boys.
Derpy, Calvin Austin the third, a half a touchdown. Over or under?
I would agree. Give me the over.
Chris Boswell, 2.5 field goals made. Mike,
Over.
Derpy, 2.5 field goals made.
Over.
All right, go over to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to start with Derpy on this one. Derpy, turnovers caused by the defense, 1.5.
Over.
Mike, defense, turnovers caused by the defense, 1.5. Derpy says over.
I'm gonna go under.
Derpy, Nick Herbig, 1.5 sacks, over or under?
I'm high on her, but give me the over.
Mike,
I'm high on Herbert as well, but I am going to take the under. I think this will be a group affair.
Derpy, TJ Watt, 1.5 sacks, over or under?
Over.
Mike, TJ Watt, 1.5 sacks, over or under?
You know what? Give me the over because it looks like their right tackle did not practice today.
Joey Porter Jr., a half of interception. Derpy,
Under.
Joey Porter, Mike, over under?
I'm going to take Joey Porter the over. He needs to get a turnover like everyone else in that secondary has. He's the odd man out.
Cam Hayward, a half sack. Derpy, is Cam Hayward a half sack? Over or under?
Give me Clam under.
Mike, Cam Hayward, is he a half sack?
The Cam Hayward revenge tour continues. He gets a sack. I'm taking the over.
And finally, Derpy, a half of a devastating injury. I don't have to explain what that means to you.
Why?
Is it going to happen? Are we going to lose somebody of significance? 1/2, over or under in this game?
You know, the Steelers were just injury prone, so just give me the over.
I mean, like Derpy's not wrong. It's happened ever since we started.
I know.
Before we even started doing this, a year and a half ago.
They were the healthiest team ever before we started doing this.
No, I think that's why we started, because we had everyone was going down.
Do you think over or under?
You know what? I'm taking the under, boys. We're coming out healthy.
All right, there you go, guys. That is the over and under for the Steelers at the Colts this Sunday, 1:00 p.m. It's going to be a good one, I think. I got confidence, but I'm not overly optimistic like most people are. I think a lot of people are getting a little too confident right at this point, at least. Of course, last night, the game on Thursday Night Football was Dallas against the Giants. The Cowboys improved to 2-2. They beat the Giants 20-15. A couple NFL numbers here, guys. I don't know if anybody's seen this. Andy Reid. Andy Reid became the only coach to reach 130 wins with two different teams. Kind of
Oh,
impressive. He went 130 and 93 and one in Philadelphia and 130 and 51 in Kansas City. Andy Reid, man, he either knows how to coach or he's going to the right places.
exactly. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Donovan McNabb was no slouch. Patrick Mahomes was no slouch either.
Yeah.
He deserves a cheeseburger.
You better hide your chicken nuggies. What's that commercial,
Also,
Ryan, when he reaches over?
oh, that's you.
That's your favorite commercial. See, look. I got Ryan to smile.
No, you
Everything
didn't.
is good now.
No,
I
you
got
didn't.
Ryan to smile. He's not going to kill me at the studio.
And the last thing is,
Somebody better clip this.
did anybody see Cam Hay or Cam? I'm sorry. Did anybody see Cam Newton's comment on Eli Manning?
No.
Cam
No.
Newton, of course, the former quarterback in the NFL, and Eli Manning, of course. This was the comment by Cam. Quote, if he gets a gold jacket before me, I deserve two of them. This is what Cam Hayward, who's won, or Cam Newton, who's won literally nothing, is saying about Eli Manning, who won two Super Bowls. Not only did he win two Super Bowls, he won two Super Bowls over the
Yeah.
GOAT. But I just think that this is a kind of interesting, I thought, for Cam Newton to say that. Once again, he says, if Eli Manning gets a gold jacket before I do, I deserve two of them.
Yeah, Eli's that guy. Like, if he doesn't have those Super Bowls, he doesn't go in, but he has them, and he has them over Tom Brady. And there's how dramatic those Super Bowls were. He has to go into the Hall of Fame just on that alone. Like, yeah.
And on top of having a pretty decent career, it wasn't like he was a bad quarterback.
It was a really good career, but he just like the end of Eli's career kind of puts a sour note on his entire career as a whole.
And one other thing, one quick note that I did have written on the side here. I think we knew this, but Nick Herbig had more sacks than the defensive player of the year Myles Garrett had at the last half of the season last year.
Yep.
So a rookie had more sacks than Myles Garrett, who was the defensive player of the year in the last half of the season last year. When it matters, the last half, right?
Yeah. And here, Ryan, this will also bring a smile to your face. Did you hear
I got my quota of smiles. Knock it off.
No. Did you hear what
I was gonna bring this up too, Mike.
The Colts linebacker said?
No.
He wants to see terrible towels stolen. He wants Indy to steal terrible towels, and he hopes he can snatch one and twirl it around.
Wait, who said that?
Zaire Franklin, the Indy's middle linebacker. So he wants to mess with fate, mess with destiny, and mess with the terrible towel.
Well, from what I understand, it's going to be packed. I heard it's going to look like a Steeler game in there.
I hope so. Because that happens, man, we usually play well when that happens.
Go ahead and curse yourself by taking a terrible towel. I mean,
exactly.
What are you, stupid?
Yeah. Jacksonville's what, like won 2 games since they desecrated the terrible towel?
3-9.
3-9. Yeah, I was thinking 2-8, but my bad. But yeah. Yep, you don't mess with the terrible towel.
Mike, over to the other football, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they take on the Birmingham Legion. That game is tomorrow at 7:00 p.m. Your Pittsburgh Penguins, if you're into some hockey. Again, as I said, there's a lot of Pittsburgh sports going on this weekend, everybody. The Penguins play tomorrow and Sunday. They play the Red Wings tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Detroit. Then they come home to host the Ottawa Senators. Both of those games, 7:00, Saturday and Sunday. Pitt Panthers are off this week in college football. They sit with their 4-0 record waiting for their game against North Carolina next week. The Penn State, Mike, they come in with a number 9 ranking overall in the country. They'll be playing number 19, Illinois. That looks like it should be a good game.
That's going to be a tough one.
That one's tomorrow in the evening at 7:30. Ohio State, number 3 in the land, they take on Michigan State in Michigan State. That's a 7:30 game as well. A couple other notable games in the college circuit this weekend is number 2 Georgia at number 4 Alabama. That should be a hell of a game. And finally, the number 15 Louisville Cardinals and the number 16 Notre Dame Fighting Irish for the ACC and Pitt Panthers. We'll keep an eye on those games, Mike. But
I'm worried about this I'm worried about this Penn State game. We starting out slow. You can't do that in a conference game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
We play Illinois, and I'm more nervous.
That should be a win, but
it should be. But Illinois, we own them. But the times they've beaten us is the times we should have dominated them. And I get
They did
nervous
beat
with Penn State.
Nebraska, though, right?
Nebraska's overrated.
And then Illinois is 19 in the country, so it
Yeah.
should in theory be a decent game. Mike, the most touchdowns accounted for by a transfer this year is Miami's quarterback Cam Ward with 15, and Eli Holstein coming in second with 14 touchdowns by a transfer.
Both
That's
really good quarterbacks.
absolutely, man. It's
I hate that you got a quarterback, Ryan. It's not fair.
also guys, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they traveled to the Bronx today. They'll be taking on the New York Yankees tonight. The game tonight is at 7:05. This is game 1 of 3, but this is also the last 3 games of the season for the Pirates. Once these games are done, but they have to win 2 or 3. If they win 2 or 3 off the Yankees, they will have the same exact record as they finished with last year. If they would sweep the Yankees, they would have a better record. I don't personally think that they're going to do either of those things, but they do game 1 of 3 against the Yankees tonight. It's going to be Jared Jones versus Carlos Rodon. Jones comes in with a 6-8 record of 4.14, 125 strikeouts, where Rodon comes in with a 16-9 with a 3.98 and 190 strikeouts. If you're interested in the Paul Skeens Day, the Saturday game 2 of this series will be a Paul Skeens starting Sunday. Bailey Falter will wrap up the season for the Pirates, pitching against the New York Yankees. So again, even if you're not really into the Pirates, if they kind of fell off your radar, they are playing the Yankees. We do have a Paul Skeens Day, and it is Saturday when Pitt doesn't play. So maybe check out Paul Skeens tomorrow. But again, a lot of Pittsburgh sports going on.
Oh yeah,
Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website, man?
The2dumbyensers.com. Derpy, turn down the mic for a minute. If you head on over to the2dumbyensers.com, you will catch all of Ryan and I's social media links, every place where you can watch and listen to the 2 Dumb Yinzers if you don't have time to check us out on YouTube. We got the merch store over there. And like I said, there's a blog over there, but it is on hiatus for a moment. I don't have the time and just don't know what to write. So yeah, but check out the2dumbyensers.com. Check it out.
Over to you, Derpy.
Derpy.
If you're new to the Two Dumb Users show, be sure to subscribe below and pound that like
between the both of you, I'm losing my mind.
I'm just trying to get you to laugh, but
jeez, oh man. Let's get into this trivia. I gotta get the hell out of here. Trivia of the day is the last Colts trivia of the week. You guys ready?
I'm ready. God, yes, right. I'm ready.
Put your thinking caps on. People on the board. Here we go. Which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a season, guys? I'm looking for the Colts quarterback who holds their franchise record for most passing yards in a season. Go ahead and think that over. We are live. We're live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. We hope you can continue to check us out. Mike, Derpy, question of the day is this. Which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a season? I'm going to start with Derpy. Who do you think?
I'm going to go.
What was that? Was that an answer?
No.
Oh.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. Is that your final answer?
Yes, sir.
All right. I think there's a lot of great quarterbacks in the Colts history. Mike, I'm going to come over to you. Which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a season?
I am going to go with Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. Interesting. Everybody goes with Luck. Brian on the board goes to Andrew Luck as well. Question of the day. Which Colts quarterback holds the franchise record for most passing yards in a season? Everybody says Andrew Luck with 4,761 yards, breaking the 4,700-yard record held by Peyton Manning. The answer is Andrew Luck. He did it in 2014, So the 4,700-yard record that's pretty impressive only held for about 4 years, and then Andrew Luck came along and broke it. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? Like, Peyton Manning's the obvious answer because Luck was career was so short. People tend to forget about, which is crazy because he had a really good short career before injuries. Man, what could have been? What could have been?
Could have been. He could have been the great Andrew Luck.
Could have been.
Also, as I was mentioning earlier, all the cool things going on this weekend in Pittsburgh sports. A lot of high school football games tonight as well. I do want to say good luck to all the guys out there on the gridiron tonight. P said Peyton Manning, which I think would have been the obvious answer. I think most people would have said Peyton Manning. Anything before we start getting ready to wrap things up, Mike?
Oh God,
you're not going to yell at me again, are you?
Are you going to yell at me?
I wasn't yelling.
Well, you said I was like talking to a brick wall, and I said you're like talking to a bearded wall.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything. I just saw your stupid gray beard staring at me, but I can't make fun of that because I got a gray beard too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, look,
I just can't. I hate you,
jackass.
So much
come
right
on,
I
Derpy. Do you have anything before we get ready to wrap things up?
It's an oldie but a goldie. We're from the town with the great football team. We cheer the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like it. Mike, do you care to sing? You want to sing something? That will make me smile. If you sing something to wrap up.
Come on.
I hate everything about you.
I like that song too. Guys, I do want to say this. Do check out Sunday morning at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Right here, you can check it out. And then also over on One Man's Opinion.
Yes.
I believe it comes up as One Man's Opinion on Sports, as I'm seeing it right now on the board. You can check out here and there. Sunday morning, we will be doing the Steeler pregame show with Brian Pasquale. It is an episode of it's One Man Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. It's every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. We do the show with him. And also on Sunday, his radio show is at 4 to 6 p.m., 2 hours all football season long. That is on 99.3 WBVP, Beaver County Radio. You could always check him out there on the Facebook page, on the YouTube page, and go to the website. But do check us out Sunday morning. We will be with Brian Sunday, 11 o'clock a.m., doing the Steeler preview, getting ready to get the game going. Get this big Colts win in, Mike, 4-0. If we pull this off, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be 4-0. This team that was predicted to be at the very bottom of the AFC North under all these great teams, the great Baltimore Ravens, the great Cincinnati Bengals,
the Cleveland Browns.
Look how things play out. I think we get this win. But do check out One Man's Opinion on Sports, Brian Pasquale, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. And again, throughout the week, he also is making these videos as well. They're really cool if you're into sports. He had a Caitlin Clark one. He had TJ Watt, NBA if you're into that. All kind of different things. Go check that out as well over on One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Good friend of our show. We do a lot of work back and forth with one another. So we do recommend that you go check him out. Subscribe, all that stuff. It will certainly help him out.
Like real quick, if we win this game, the Steelers win this game, they have a chance to potentially go 8-0.
The next four are going to be tough, though, man.
They're going to be tough, but like they're
the Jets and the Cowboys.
But they're all winnable games. There's no game where you're going in like, there's nothing we can do to win this game. I think they might not be pretty, but you can have a chance to win them.
They're all losable games too, because the Raiders beat the Ravens.
Yeah,
the Cowboys, I think they're good enough. They're good enough to beat us. I don't think that they're not. The Jets, who I didn't think were good enough to beat us with Aaron Rodgers back, and I seen him play a couple times. Mike, he looks just as good as he always had. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he is, but he can be a threat. And those three games right there, I think could certainly we could lose. We could lose. I think the Giants. I don't think there's many teams that are going to lose to them guys, but I think that these next four games are going to be more difficult than the first four games. So
you know what? 5-3 wouldn't be bad though to start the season. I'd take it.
I mean, I don't want that either, but
hey,
I'm just saying that these games certainly are more.
Yeah, like you said, we have to stack the win. We get out of this one, then the schedule starts to pick up a little bit.
Yeah,
and then we'll see where we go from there. But get out of here with the going 4-0, get in, get out with the win.
I'm going to be
Let's
honest. I
move
haven't
on.
really paid any attention to that second quarter of the season yet. I'm focusing on the Colts.
Yep.
Let's worry about these guys. Get the win. After that, we can worry about the next quarter. But again, I think it's not the Broncos, and again, the Atlanta Falcons don't look as good as people thought they were going to be. And of course, this team tomorrow or Sunday, I'm sorry, doesn't seem to be that good of a team. So I think the teams definitely improve. And then as the third quarter comes around, you then get more difficult teams. So
Yeah.
it's going to get a little bit
I
harder as
like,
the season goes on, but that's
but
okay
I kind
because
of like the way the schedule's
we
laid out.
should be improving as the
Yeah,
season goes on as well.
yeah, we kind of are, and like the way it's laid out, it gets a little bit tougher, but it's not like a lot of these teams are ramming into the toughest parts of the schedule now. I like the way the schedule's laid out for we're building and building and building, and hopefully building towards a crescendo to the end of the season.
I also want to say real quick back to the the Buccos. They are finishing up their season with the Yankees this weekend. Mike, they are sitting 17 games out in last place, 14 games out of the wild card.
We had sole possession of the wild card at one point.
Unbelievable.
I love it. I love it.
That's 162.
Yeah, that's 162, Derpy. He says it. Listen, also, Mike said whatever he said, Derpy sang us a tune. My thing is this. You ready, guys? Here's mine for the day. In the 1700s, get this, guys. In the 1700s, you're not going to want to miss this. You might want to sit down.
Okay.
In the 1700s, it was very common for a nanny to give young and teenage boys of the house handies at night to help them fall asleep. Yeah, you don't learn this stuff in school. This is fact. In the 1700s,
everything right now.
In this what?
I said Mike is regretting everything right now.
In the 1700s, one more time, it was very common for a nanny to give young and teenage boys of the house handies at night to help them fall asleep. There's something to enjoy your weekend on, everybody. Don't forget to check out again Steelers Sunday, 1:00 against the Colts. The Pirates all through the weekend, starting today in the Bronx. They finish up their season in New York against the Yankees. The Hounds back at it Saturday, 7:00 against Birmingham. They only have a couple home games left. Make sure you get down and check out the Hounds. Pittsburgh Penguins have a Saturday and Sunday game this weekend. They play the Red Wings and the Senators. Also, a bunch of college football. Pitt is off for the week, but there is a lot of good games we mentioned earlier in the show. So there's going to be a lot of football. High school football starts tonight. But again, we will be back Sunday morning on Brian's show. We'll be having it right here and on his site as well. You can check us out at both places. Jen says, imagine the jobs description for the nanny, I guess. But and then again, high school football. And then we'll be on Sunday morning with Brian. Check us out then. And then we'll be back on Monday morning. First thing to go over all this stuff. So it's going to be a big weekend, everybody. I hope you enjoy your football. Let's go Steelers. For Derpy, for Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, myself, everybody have a great weekend. Go Steelers. And for the two dumb yinzers, we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.